Radio, a podcast produced by Winding Trails Media, for writers, by writers.
Writers, agents, and publishers, for the first time since the Gutenberg Press, find themselves lost in a maze of mystery as technology alters the shape of the publishing industry. Searching for Answers is a group of writers throwing pop culture, writing, and publishing into a crucible of clarity, passion, and humor. This group is the Right Pack.
Welcome back to Right Pack Radio. This is your host and producer, David Allen Lucas, author of crazy things like science fiction and mystery and combining them, and also executive producer at Winding Trails Media and president of St. Louis Writers Guild. And with me today is, of course, my lovely co-host.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Kayembe. I write paranormal romance under the pen name Kaseka and Vita. I'm going to be running writing groups soon, and I have stories forthcoming from Lightspeed and Nightmare magazines.
Excellent. And also with us,
Brad R. Cook, author of the Iron Chronicles, which is a steampunk YA trilogy. The third of which, Iron Lotus, is now out. Go get it, pick it up, love it as much as I do, please. You can find out about all of that at bradrarcook.com. I also write for the Writer's Lens and do a bunch of other weird stuff, and we'll talk about all that soon.
My name is Jennifer Stolzer. I'm a children's book author and illustrator. I'm currently working on my first fantasy novel, which has a release date. It's going to be, it's a launch party if you live in town, in the St. Louis area. Launch party is at Main Street Books in St. Charles on March 25th from 8 to 5.
In 2017.
2017. Because it's the internet, everything exists all at the same time.
yes.
So it's 2017, March 25th. Check it out, and if you want to find out more about places to get it and when it'll be available, it's going to be available online a little bit earlier than the launch date. Follow me on Facebook, Threadcaster. Follow me on Tumblr, Twitter, and its own webpage, www.threadcaster.com. So it's thread like string and caster like magic.
Excellent.
I'm Melanie Lucas. I feel like I haven't written anything this week, but I do try and write fantasy and science fiction. I thought about writing this week, so I guess that counts.
Yeah,
and I also write nonfiction stuff under the name Melanie Colaney, and let's see. Well, technically something was published not too long ago, but that was submitted so long ago I don't remember the title of it anymore. But that was a journal in a scientific journal.
She is the scientist in the room.
Yeah.
And also with us today is
Fedora Amos. I write Victorian whodunits like Jack the Ripper in St. Louis and Mayhem at Buffalo Bill's Wild West, and I am vice president of Greater St. Louis Sisters in Crime.
I had to pause before we go on to our next guest. I have to ask you, have you ever watched the Murdoch Mysteries?
Absolutely love them.
Thank you. Moving on.
The story is crap, but I love
yes, because I've seen a couple of episodes just recently and made me think exactly of you. One with a Jack the Ripper suspect and one with Wild Bill. Go ahead.
And I am George Soroy. I am the Vice President and Conference Chair of the Missouri Writers Guild. Looking forward to seeing you in Columbia, Missouri, May 5th through the 7th at the Holiday Inn Executive Center. I'm also the author of Excelsior and the soon-to-be-finished Ever Upward Part 2 of the Excelsior Journey. Both of those have quite a bit of updates attached to them, which will be announced at a later date. And also author of the 5-part serial From Parts Unknown, which will be relaunched on Amazon as 5 separate stories in 2017.
Yeah, excellent. Also, too, listen to the end of this episode for an announcement about Gateway Con. Well, actually, it's our advertisement. Gateway Con is a writers' conference and readers' convention that is occurring in St. Louis in June 2017. Now, today is our, 2 years ago we started a tradition we've kept up every year, and thanks to George for reminding me of this because I didn't realize we had done this. When I program, I didn't think about this. I'm sorry.
This was in reaction to his co-host's excuse me, because some people just assumed we were doing this every year and were surprised we weren't.
It's because...
Well, now we are, so...
Yeah, so let me go ahead and announce it, then I'll explain why. We are going to talk today about our resolutions as writers and also about writer motivation. We've actually combined two subject matters together. And the reason why I didn't think about it is, as I've said probably before for the last 2 years, and I don't remember, is several years ago I made a resolution never to make another resolution again. But I've still got stuff for today. So, once again, we're going to talk about writers' resolutions and writers' motivations. And with that, let's make this easy. Let's talk about writer motivation first.
Like maintaining motivation?
Obtaining and maintaining. I like that you asked that question.
I was going to say.
Obtaining motivation and maintaining motivation. We are going to do an episode in the future thanks to a suggestion from a fan of ours named Tom. I do not know his last name.
Lindsay.
What she said?
Tom Lindsay, like the
Lindsay.
lady's name.
About inspiration and where it comes from and where we can get it and so forth. But if you write professionally, you know inspiration, hey, that's great, but it doesn't always exist. Doesn't always come to you. So with that thought in mind, what gets you up out of the bed to write, or gets you, especially if you work full time, after you're done for a day and then you sit down with the proverbial laptop and start writing, however you write? Go ahead.
Well, the first and probably one of the greatest motivators of all is fear.
Amen.
If you have a deadline looming, and if it's, say, tomorrow, you can come up with some gold within that period of time before that deadline hits.
You described my senior year of high school to a T.
There you go. There's also the fear that other people are passing you by, that you feel like you're sitting on this story, that you haven't cracked it, and you're getting more and more afraid about if you actually have what it takes to do this. And that to me has proven to be an excellent motivator.
I like joy. I think joy is a better motivator than fear.
On the other side of the coin.
Exactly. But as for myself, habit is what really does it for me, because I roll out of bed in the morning, I go straight to the computer without giving it a thought. When I'm there, I hope I have some
Wait,
thoughts,
do
that
you,
is.
do you eat or drink anything beforehand?
No,
Huh.
Nice.
See,
So no coffee.
no.
Wow. So
Cold turkey every morning.
I have to have the coffee. I have to have the coffee.
I
I have my apple juice and that's it.
I should get chai and do that. That would be ideal because I'm not hungry early in the mornings, but I always have to eat because I have to take medication because I'm insane. So,
Crazy people.
But we love you anyway.
yes, I like my insanity. It's my own special brand. It's just I'm friends with it now. But yeah, that would be perfect. Get up in the morning and instead of feeling like P. Diddy, you get some chai and start typing on your computer or writing by hand. Can I bring up the motivation that is related to both of those? That is definitely one of mine. It's related to fear in that it has to do with that spike of adrenaline that gets to you because somebody expects something of you and you're afraid you won't deliver unless you do work. But it also has to do with joy because I love writing and it's a joy to give somebody something that I've written and have them happy that I've written it. Something that I do right now, something that I've recognized as a pattern in my writing is that if I have somebody that wants to read the rest of it and I know this and they continually tell me why isn't there more, I tend to write to that person so that there is more so they can read it and be happy. And right now my friend Chanel is that person with a story called Rival Vacation that I'm writing. I've written, I think, at least 15,000 more words, and I hadn't written on it for a while. But because she keeps being like, okay, so what's the next part? What's the next part? I'm like, oh, better write that. Better start writing that. And I re-fell in love and immersed myself in the story. And now it's coming along swimmingly.
So accountability then?
Yes, accountability is great for people like me. I think it's good for my personality, and also because I have ADD, I have the memory of a goldfish. Like, out of sight, out of squirrel. So that's how I function. So having someone that's continually like, hey, tell me more about what they're doing now. And I'm like, oh. And I start writing more.
I would actually say that kind of in a similar vein to that, having critique partners and having that meeting that's coming up and knowing I have to have, not that I have to have something, but it's a motivation to have something for each meeting to then propel and continue that project, finish that project. But for me, really, it's just about words. Words are stuck in my head. Words need to come out of my head. And I type them out as much as I can in a day. And stuff will progress from and out of all of that. But that's why, because I want to tell stories. So it doesn't matter, even if I'm just writing for myself, I'm still going to create stories. It's just now I try and publish them and let other people read them.
Yeah. I just want, because our listeners cannot see us, Brad and I both made really awkward typing motions without moving our fingers in front of us as we mentioned writing.
Yes, I want to write.
Yes.
My computer's right here. I could
It's like
start
you're
writing.
pounding on a keyboard with paws instead of hands and fingers.
I'm a freelance artist by trade, so it's motivation to get things done is all in me. I'm the one who's responsible for doing all the things, and I'm also terrible at scheduling. But I still get the things done by due dates. Having dates that need to have things happen by really helps me compartmentalize tasks and how long it's going to take me to get the task done. So on Threadcaster, for example, obviously I'm publishing it myself. I don't have a publisher saying you need it done by this date, but I knew I wanted to have it out for 2017. So when I started working on the final revision, I looked at my book and I made dog ears in the book for I made dog ears for every quarter of the way through and every third of the way through, and I knew I wanted to have this done by the time school starting, because my editor is my cousin and she's in college, so I wanted to have this section of the book done so I could give it to her before school started.
I'm sorry, everybody. That was Twain and Pumpkin deciding to have a discussion.
That was Mark and Pumpkin.
Mark and Pumpkin.
Twain's
Sorry.
Twain is innocent.
Yes, Twain is innocent. Moving on.
Yes, I wondered what he was stalking.
Well, I had both a physical looking, like I could see the side of my book, and I knew how far I had to be at whatever part of the year. And then, if I didn't hit that mark, I had the nagging, looming sense of passing a deadline that's terrible, that I can't stand, which is what motivates me to hit the deadlines. And having my own life and my work in there, I consider my novel as part of my brand. So it's going to show my art off, it's going to show my skill and talent, it's going to show my formatting skills. So I decided for 2017 it was a client, so it fit in my client list. It's like, I need to have this done by this due date, so if the client is asking for something, I say, I'm sorry, I'm not available that week, because I know that week I'm going to be working on my novel. So that's my motivation, is due dates and having a visual representation, because I'm a visual thinker.
Is it the guilt that comes with the due date, or is it just you're deadline motivated? So
it's a deadline thing. It's me knowing what I should be doing. It's not the guilt of not doing it. Guilt comes with like a color and a flavor where you're like, oh, I've let everyone down, or oh, I feel so bad about this. More, it's a sense of urgency. Oh my gosh, the deadline's here. Oh gosh, I missed the deadline. I have to get that done right away. Push everything else aside so I can finish this in time for the deadline. It injects my body with adrenaline.
Whoa,
you're dovetailing in, so go
that's
ahead.
how I function as a person with ADD. Crap, it's almost time! I have to get it done right now! Everything else is shelved. So, I understand that very much, but I think it's great that you brought up deadlines, and I want to make an addendum for people who are like me, because I can make deadlines for myself all day long, and because it's just for me, I missed it. But
So you like to hear those deadlines just whooshing on past.
Yeah, because there's no adrenaline, because it doesn't go to anybody. But what Jen has said, I've realized these are like what Barbara Scher would call real deadlines. Like there's your writing and your editor is starting school, so you have a real deadline. She will not have time to do this after a certain point. So there's a fixed point in time when it has to be done. And it seems like you've kind of engineered things like that throughout. Like you've been telling people that it's coming out at a certain time of the year, so now all these people are expecting it to be out at this time, and that's something getting other people involved is a great way of making deadlines real, even if they're for yourself. So
And setting realistic deadlines.
Having
Yeah.
yes, I was gonna say having a deadline sort of system for my work. I have a deadline strategy. We'll say you could make a deadline with every intention of meeting it, but you probably need to give yourself buffer time. And I'm aware of myself and how I work, and I've learned about Threadcaster as I've worked on it that the buffer time that I need to draw something from my dog store, for example, is much less than the buffer time I need to complete a chapter in my novel. And the chapter in the novel may or may not require me to rewrite the whole thing from scratch, depending on how pissed off I am at that chapter specifically. So I have to make sure that there's probably going to need to be twice as much time as I think it needs. Maybe 3 times as much time as I think, quote unquote, it needs. And I have to be aware of myself and my habits, and also how critical I am of my own work.
how did you kind of become more aware enough to
I screwed up a lot.
create those buffers?
Good answer.
Yeah,
So-
I learned. I've
Show me
always
how
been a
that happens.
hands-on learner, so I made good faith attempts to do things, and when all of my effort didn't meet that, I said next time you need to make a longer buffer for that, because obviously that didn't work out. I missed the first couple deadlines that I set for myself for Threadcaster. Like, I didn't get my editor the printout she needed before she left for school because it was I was rewriting so much I didn't have time to do it, and there was some traveling. It was over summer, and I was like, oh, I missed that deadline. That sucks. But she was gonna come back in another couple weeks. New deadline. Get it done for that. And I handed her the second, third. We were right up to the nose. Like, I gave it to her the day that she left to go back to school from Thanksgiving break. And so it's like, that was a little too close. Gotta move it back. So now I'm very close. I'll show everybody. Everyone cheer for me. I brought my galley copy that I've been editing in, and this is how much I have left.
How much?
nice.
I've got a couple
wow.
millimeters left of the book
Awesome.
Wow.
to
It really
edit
does,
through.
yeah. Excellent.
So
Congrats.
my goal is to have this final third of the book polished and ready for my editor before she leaves back to school from Christmas break. So that's the goal.
I think, thank you for saying all that, because I know as a perfectionist writer, it's hard sometimes to recognize that the process of figuring out what motivates us as writers and what works effectively for us is a process. It will take time, trial and error. Keep doing it, you will figure out something that works.
There's a key motivation factor that really kind of brings in all the different elements that we've been talking about, and that one is the wonderful word known as feedback.
Yes.
And this comes from all walks of life. It comes from the people that are posting comments on Amazon with the finished version. You have people, as Brad said, critique partners that are helping you along the way. And what that does is it reminds you that you're not writing in a vacuum. You're not just putting something out there and then it's just going to float out in the netherworld and no one will ever see it. People are seeing your work. They're reviewing it. They care enough about it to leave their feedback on it, which gives you that feeling of accountability that was discussed before. And when the feedback is strong, it definitely brings you the joy. And then that brings in the fear because oh, I don't want this to go away.
Right.
And so then the vicious circle begins once again. So feedback really is a key motivational factor because it keeps you going. It really keeps you going because you're not just writing for yourself. You're writing for other people to read.
Exactly. Brad?
Well, I love deadlines, so I'm a big fan of them. They allow me to give myself the motivation to work extra hard, I guess would be a good way of saying it. I've made no qualms about it before. Anyone who's listened to this program for a while, that I love working on a 24-hour schedule when I have a deadline coming up. There's something kind of interesting to just devoting your entire self to a novel. Usually it's the editing and stuff. I don't like doing that when I'm in the just writing it down kind of stage. But there, it's a motivation. It gets me working. It gets me going. Now that I've kind of been on a schedule for the last 3 years, that was intriguing. I always knew, like, I knew what my entire year was pretty much going to look like because I knew the way that the publisher was going to be working with the book and the way that when I get it, then I'd have X number of weeks to work on it again. So going back and forth like that was kind of an intriguing thing. So I'm going to kind of use that as I move forward to kind of keep myself on a schedule. But then, setting deadlines and you'll know you'll be working towards them.
A management guru named George Duran created a technique which he calls smart planning. And it seems to me that people who are hazy about how to go about any given project would do well to use this notion. And you can talk about each step as it goes. The first letter of SMART is specific, that it should be a tangible goal with clear limits and definition. And for us who are writers, it's to have so many words written.
Yep.
It's to have so many chapters finished. It's to have the book finished. It's something specific. The second, SM, measurable, with a concrete, calculable indicator of progress. And that's the deadline part, or can be,
Yep.
or the number of words once again, but it's measurable. You know when you've done it, in other words.
Right.
Third, it has to be achievable, within reach of our current skills and resources. And that, I think, is a place where a lot of people get what they think is writer's block, because you know that I don't believe in writer's block. What I believe in is doing things in steps that are small enough that you're willing to tackle them. If you put something out there that is too big to tackle, I don't know about other people, but I will just collapse and not do a damn thing.
Yeah.
Well, novels are kind of like that.
Yeah, they are.
That's why a lot of
You have to
people
take
don't
it
finish theirs.
Exactly.
Step by step. Then it has to be relevant, important, and appropriate to your current objectives. Well, I think that's whatever it is you're trying to write, fiction or nonfiction or poetry or whatever. And finally, to end the word SMART, that it's time-based, having firm start and finish focus to the work schedule. In other words, if you just let it be out there in some kind of hazy cloud,
You'll never achieve
nothing
it.
ever happens.
Yeah.
You have to make
Sometime in the next
definite.
5 years,
Yeah,
I'll
I'm gonna
finish
write a book
that.
before
Yeah.
I die, you know?
I'll write a book before I die.
It just
No,
doesn't
that's
cut
what I call that a hard deadline.
And no, you can't take me yet. I have got 4 more chapters to write. Yeah, okay.
Can't die yet. I'm a novelist.
Yeah, I don't think death cares because there's too
It
many
doesn't.
unfinished novels out there.
So right now I'm just picturing someone, like a writer, getting mugged and like, look, take my wallet. I need to live. My
Yeah.
novel is not
Can't
done.
kill me. I got 5 more chapters. Don't kill me.
One thing I'm surprised that nobody said, I'm trying to be a little more tangible. Nobody mentioned bills. Having to get your bills paid.
Well, that's because we
Yeah,
don't get
well,
enough
the
money
first
from
one-
writing.
Oh, that is true. There is a joke out there. I'm going to
What
steal it
joke?
from
What joke?
the press club. What's the difference between a writer and a large pizza? A large pizza can still feed a family of 4.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Boom.
No, I mean that's a heck of a motivation.
Yeah.
I mean that's why I'm going to be doing what I'm doing over the next year, because I don't currently, like Lotus was the end of the Iron Chronicles, so that's now coming to an end. And when I say that, it's weird because I'm still going to be doing a ton of promotional work for it for the next year, and then after that, it'll probably be officially over or whatever, and I'll probably still push it around as I go around town. But anyway. On top of that, because there isn't another book that's coming out in November of next year, that, it's motivated me to kind of do my own thing and then continue to try. And I'm already on submission now, so we'll see how that goes and what comes from that. But beyond that, I'm totally going to self-publish in the coming year because of it.
Excellent.
Because of bills.
Exactly. Well, honestly, my motivation for next year is all bill related. Everybody around this room knows this part. As of when this airs, I will have 1 more full week of work. I lose my job basically on January 6th. Technically, it was by choice, but also I saw writing on the wall. So, good side is I'm getting paid for next year as part of severance. So. How good is it to get paid while you're working on your novel, or in my case, novels? Because I have less than a year to basically get stuff out there. right now, I am trying to get my writing speed back up to where it was. And I think I've got it this week. Has been filled with medical appointments and other appointments, so it's been interrupted. But based on what I was able to accomplish, I think the speed is back now after a full week of dedicating myself to it. My problem is my best writing time turns out to mostly be office time, so I can't write on company time.
You soon will.
Yeah, I soon will because it would be my company time.
Exactly.
But I'm like you in a lot of ways, Jennifer. I'm project manager. I like to set up my deadlines and meet those deadlines. And actually, I plan O'Toole's Law style deadlines.
What is that?
I'm glad. I was hoping somebody would ask. Everybody here knows Murphy's Law. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong at the worst possible moment, etc. O'Toole's Law is Murphy was an optimist, so I planned for that. Plan for everything to really blow up and go wrong. So I add in buffer times and so forth, and hopefully I surpass my deadline, meaning I meet it way early, and that gives me more time on my next deadline. What are some of your other writer motivations, or what are some of your resolutions?
Are we
Well-
moving on to resolutions?
Not just
We can
yet.
blend it together.
Because I wanted to say, as far as motivation goes, that for me, and I think for a lot of people, you have different times of the day which are good for different things.
Agreed.
That is, I'm most creative first thing in the morning, and I know some are not creative at all until midnight.
That's me.
There's him, and him, and her.
No, I'm creative first thing in the morning. That's
Are
one of
you?
my writing times.
Oh, I thought your writing time was like 1
Well,
o'clock
first
in
thing
the
in the
No, no,
morning
no.
is like 4 a.m. to you.
No, I sleep.
He said
Like
one.
I go to sleep for a few hours in between my writing time.
Okay.
You have a writing
Okay.
nap.
Basically.
And so it's important for me to put off looking at emails or anything like that until just before lunch or whenever.
Yeah, that's when I
And-
look at emails. I don't touch emails until like 11 a.m.
Exactly. And then in the afternoon, I usually have to do stuff around the house and, take the car in, do
Right.
things that keep your life moving.
St. Louis Writers Guild work.
Exactly. Right, or Sisters in Crime work. So we have our days organized by our talents at that given time of day,
Yes.
too.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's important to recognize that and go with the flow of it.
A couple weeks ago, Brad sounded like he was joking, and Fedora didn't so much, but they're not joking. Write Pack has a dedicated night. A lot of us get together and write, and it's a Thursday night. And on one certain Thursday night, not that long ago,
Nope.
I literally walked into the coffee shop where we do this at. Walked up straight up to Brad and said, "Brad," him being the former president of St. Louis Writers Guild. I said, "Brad, don't take this the wrong way. I really don't mean this sarcastically or snarky. But how the hell did you get all your writing done?" Because I was literally finding all of the emails and everything else that goes with St. Louis Writers Guild was literally a 60-hour-a-week job in which
It
doesn't
can be
pay.
overwhelming.
You
yes.
can.
Which
Yeah.
I get no pay for that.
Nope.
And of course, you're working full time, and it's like, how am I going to get these novels written?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we had a conversation.
And then
I've
I
been
laughed
taking your advice.
maniacally.
Yeah. Actually, it took him a couple of days to get back to me after he was done laughing.
No, but
So-
it is. It's
It
about about managing your time,
Mhm.
and that's what it's about. And some days you get to write more, and other days you got to do St. Louis Writers Guild business
Yep.
more.
And I've gone back to using Franklin Covey's method, so which is helping it.
What's that?
It's not really anything super brand new. But it's basically you take everything you've got to do, and you've got priorities of A, B, C, D. A must be done that day.
Yeah.
B, it's really important, and if you can get it done that day, great. But it's really important. C's it'd be nice to be done, and there really should never be a D on your list. But you identify the D's and then you dump them.
D's that stuff that
Is
waits
D
a
for
couple of
dumb?
years to get done.
Yeah, D's can be dumped. D's can be put aside. D's don't have to happen.
D's like cleaning out the closet.
Yes.
D is normally my laundry.
Yeah. Well, okay.
At some point
I put that
it
as a C or a
moves
B.
to A.
Yeah.
No, it
But
goes
then-
straight from D to A for me.
Oh, yeah.
When
But
I
then-
run out of clean pants, then
But
it's time to do some laundry.
after you've lettered everything, then you go through those letters and you identify number-wise. You've got an A1, A2, A3. And if you can't do A1 right away, you can't complete A1 for whatever reason. Let's say A1 is I need to talk to Fedora about a poison that I'm going to be using in one of my stories. And it's 5 o'clock in the morning when I'm writing. I am not going to call Fedora at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I may...
up, actually.
Okay, but still.
Do not call me at 5 a.m. in the morning.
So that, I will then jump to A2 or
You're welcome to call me,
A3.
but I won't pick up.
Yeah, my phone's on silent at that
So
point.
anyway, it gives me a set prioritization, and then I'm able to also track from day to day as I move information over across the book. So it's a great project manager process. I find it very useful. I'm kind of gotten back to it now with everything else going on, and what I've got planned for Winding Trails. I'll talk about it later, and myself, I should say. Winding Trails and myself as an author, and sometimes those mix. So, we've been talking about motivation. Is there any motivations we've left out that we do around the room? If not, how about resolutions?
Got a bad motivator.
Okay, well,
Thank
Send
you,
the right
RD.
one back.
Thank you, R2D4.
R2D4.
Star Wars joke.
If he'd taken R2D4 instead of R2D2, the story would have never got started.
Yeah, this is true.
Look
He'd
what's
still
on
be
the
rotting
Tatooine.
in the guts of that Jawa land crawler.
Yes. Yeah. So,
Star Wars: A New Hope jokes.
Yay, Star Wars joke.
resolutions. Unless you want me to start.
Oh, I'll start.
Go for it.
Good.
Because
I think
I'm
you're
so
listing
darn boring. Mine are exactly the same as they were last year and the year before.
You're maintaining.
I am. I have discovered that I'm like a robot. I'm kind of binary. It's either yes or no, 1 or 0, 1 or 0. You see, my goals I have like daily, but they're really little. They're baby steps. I set myself to write 100 words a day. Usually I'll write more than that, but probably not more than 500 words a day. But my goal is 100 words a day. And if I do 100 words a day, I'm happy with myself. I'm good with that. Once a week, I do something promotion-wise. And often I will do more than that. But I will do at least one once a week. And I will go to one conference which is out of town. Or, well, actually, next year I'm probably going to 2. I'm going to count Kansas City for the Western Writers Conference as local, because it's within the state.
Okay.
Because I'm really going far away for the one that's out of town. I'm going to Scotland.
Oh!
Okay,
I'm
okay.
going to the Edinburgh Book Fair.
I need to pause you for a second.
Yes.
Do you have, by the way, those of you who cannot see, I'm currently standing up and I'm putting my hand at the top of my head. Do you have a piece of luggage about this high by about, this wide and with a little extra room with an oxygen tank? I could ride in luggage.
I was going to say, those look like your measurements. I'm suspicious about this plan.
And by the way,
It's just
those,
for the books she
And
finds
there's
there.
no
Yeah.
oxygen in the.
thus the oxygen tank.
Oh yeah.
And you know, we just bought a coat today, so you know,
Yeah.
depressurized cabin, no
Well,
problem.
And I'm
he'll
surprised-
ride over, and then you can fill the case with books and fly back and leave him there.
yeah, there you go. And I'm
Just make sure the
surprised.
case has wheels, so that way he
And I'm
can go
surprised
around.
Jen hasn't jumped on going, wait a minute, that's a
Melanie, you don't need him back,
Babylon
right?
5
I mean,
quote.
you just married him.
I was
but
gonna let you go.
expect him back from
I was
Scotland.
gonna let you have that one.
So I plan to go to Scotland for the book fair, and also just to tour around Scotland, because my heroine is going on a grand tour of Europe, which was something that people did if they could afford it or get somebody to pay their way
Right.
Uh-huh.
in the late 1800s. And so she's going to be in Scotland, and I want to see more of the country. I've seen only a little bit of it so far. So I'm very much looking forward to that, and as I said, I'm counting Kansas City as being just local.
Excellent.
Oh, and I
Yes.
try to get out a book a year. I often don't manage that,
Oh.
but it's my attempt.
Oh, and that book a year.
Wait,
You know.
publish one or complete one?
To finish one.
Just
write
finish
it,
and send. Be able to
write
send
it.
off.
Okay,
So is it a
finish
first
the-
draft?
Publishing it is not up to me. My goals have to be all about me.
So,
So
is it like a
is-
first draft?
Is it a first draft or is it a complete full revision?
Full-
I-
complete
I
ready
do
to
not-
submit.
I do not do draft and then revise, draft and revise. I don't do that. What I do is every day I go back over what I did the day before, and I keep on going like
See, that's
that.
why she's just
So-
doing 100 words a day.
That's right. That's why if I get 100 new words a day, it's amazing. Because I go back over stuff and I change it. And you know that I don't have separate drafts except the one that I do for critique.
Okay.
It's
That's
if I
good.
can't make it better, I'm not going to change it.
There you go.
That's a layer of sass many of us wish that we could accomplish.
Fedora, the queen of sass.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take that.
I guess we'll just go around the room.
Around the circle, George, you want to go?
Well, the current book that I would say 95% done with, Ever Upward, Part 2 of the Excelsior Journey. There's still a few weeks in the year left. And so
At least as we're recording this. This actually airs on Christmas Day.
So we'll see if I
Merry
actually...
Christmas!
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas!
Go.
We'll see if
I
I
would say
actually achieve this goal by that time. If I do not, then the goal becomes a resolution for January, which is to finish the damn book, which was a mantra that was passed around from this resolution episode of the previous year.
And finish the damn book.
Yes.
Finish the damn book.
And I also I've been really focused on the possibility of writing some shorter stories that fit in sort of an anthology format, that fit into the universe of Excelsior. Very much in the same lines of Rogue One, a Star Wars story, how it just kind of fits in this specific spot in the Star Wars universe. There's a lot of ground to cover in my own character's mythology, and this was something that my editor has been very excited about, and she's actually the one that floated the idea of putting together some short stories that kind of bridge the various gaps that are in the whole universe. So I would love to have at least two, done throughout the year. Maybe three. Three would be fun. Because 3 would be a good one to kind of put together into a paperback format. So that's something that's definitely something that I'm looking at in terms of the writing resolution. In terms of other resolutions, I would say a major one for me would be to get the voice actor business off the ground. In fact, by the time this airs, my wife and I will have taken a trip over to the Jefferson County Clerk's office, and I would have filled out all the paperwork needed to get my business up and running, and hopefully we can get a tax ID set up and everything, so that way I can open up my own checking account in my business's name.
Getting an EIN is actually really, really easy.
Yeah.
It's also free, so don't pay.
Talk to
anybody.
both of us. So.
Okay.
Don't pay anybody for that.
Yeah.
Just go to the website and get one. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, sure, here you go, and they'll email it to you.
Very easily. Very easy to do.
Awesome. There
Yeah. You're in the right room for that.
Yes.
We have a lot of people who've started their own businesses here recently.
And also just for a personal resolution, I have resolved to myself that I would really like to avoid any bit of quote unquote news that is shown on social media that says something can or could be something. If it reads like that in the headlines, there is no point in reading it at all.
It's an anti-clickbait rule.
Yes.
Yes. So
Or
I
something destroys something.
Yeah, and the only things that I would prefer to read are the things in terms of news is if something is happening or or has happened.
Yeah.
That seems to be the only way to actually get a read on it, on what's going on in the world.
So you want facts.
Yeah.
Fact-based news, not supposition-based
That's not
news.
fact stuff.
Yeah.
Facts did die.
Well, I'm trying
a
to
whole
reanimate
discussion for another
facts.
time.
I'm trying to reanimate
Exactly.
facts. So we'll see.
You are
Good
luck with
striving
that.
for truth in the new
Yes.
year.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
Before we go, Kathleen,
God,
I
there's
was
a
gonna say,
story there.
I have got
One man striving for truth.
To reanimate.
27
To reanimate
I'm hooked on how George was able to relate what he's writing to Rogue One. I noticed how that was. I'm just sitting there grinning. Like, well done. Okay, on to Kathleen.
Well, that's what you should do.
I'm so excited for Donnie Yen in Rogue One.
Just as an aside.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Complete
as an
aside.
aside, I need to watch more Donnie Yen movies in 2018, but that's just a personal
2018.
non-writing.
That's a
2017.
2-year.
Well,
She's
you
got
know,
two
years.
years
Sorry,
2018, she's already preparing.
Sorry, what I've done actually is I pulled out my list of goals that I made while I was at Clarion, and we were advised to make 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, and 10-year goals.
Okay.
Wow, 10-year
So
goals.
when I said 2018, it's because by 2018 is on this sheet. So during 2017 are the goals in there, but by 2018 they need to be done.
I see.
Okay.
So by 2018, I need to watch a slew more Donnie Yen movies.
Exactly.
Okay.
Who is
But-
that?
Oh, he's a martial artist
Oh,
and
okay.
an actor, and he's great.
And he's
He's
in
in
Rogue
Rogue
One.
One.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is. I was like,
That's a nice
Rogue
chorus
One,
we got.
okay,
Yeah,
I might see
working
it in
together
theaters, I
together.
might not. I saw Donnie and I was like, sold! So, by 2018, I want to do an accountability thing that I've been doing with my Clarion group, which is every month posting what writing we've done that month, like toward publication, and what goals we have for the next month toward publication. So I've been doing that in the past few months with them, and that's been wonderful. And it also is allowing me to see, yeah, you've actually done work. That's great. Because I'm, again, memory of a goldfish. If it's not right now, it clearly never happened. So I'm like, I've done nothing all month. And then I check my document, and I've written a crap ton all month. So by 2018, I want to have continued doing that. I want to finish the damn novel.
Finish the
which
damn novel.
Jen has been very instrumental in getting me to write more of. So
I apparently need to bug you more. I didn't realize that was so instrumental in your
It
ability
was,
to be.
like, the novel was, I had basically shelved it because I couldn't figure out how to get it done, and Jen like basically jump started it. She reanimated it. If
Oh
you
my
will,
gosh.
George.
A lot of reanimation going on.
So
Zombie novels.
it's old enough to be undead at this point. So but not right now because I'm writing the
Yeah,
other
you've-
goal,
you've got the
which
other
is
goal.
finish a trunk novella, and novella should be in quotes because it's a novel.
Okay.
She's not admitting it's a novel because novels are big.
They're scary. Novels
And,
take a lot of work, as Fedora has pointed out in her daily thing.
They
and
also have a minimum word limit to count as a quote unquote novel. I'm
Yeah.
sure that's intimidating.
It is. So I like bite-sized goals, things that I can do in
Okay.
small increments or do in a large rush and then come back later. So finish the short novella, finish the damn novel, revise and submit 5 short shorts for publication because I need to be submitting things more, and I have so many things that I've written and they're just sitting and not doing anything. And one of the things that Clarion taught me was that you could actually publish those and just get them ready, send them out, and forget about them until somebody sends you something to either be like, you need to submit elsewhere, or congratulations, we want to pay you. So that would be great. And then the last thing on my list of 4, because it's a 1-year thing, is submit a short story to John Joseph Adams at Lightspeed Magazine. And I actually did that already. So I'm very, very
Oh,
pleased with myself.
you're
Ahead
ahead
of
of the game.
schedule. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Completed the
2017.
2017 goal while in 2016.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
We're all in awe of you.
Very
Yeah.
proud of myself.
Yeah.
I overachieved on that one too. I feel extra special because I did it twice.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
Way to go, Brad.
I don't know if I can go now.
You
I'm
good?
not that impressive. No.
sorry, Mr. Just published his 3rd novel in a
Yeah,
trilogy.
really,
What were
yeah.
you saying?
No.
I'm
Well,
not
I'm
impressed.
just saying that's impressive. Actually, some of your goals are very much in line with my goals. So I say all of this with the caveat that if either an agent or a publisher likes what I have submitted to them, all of this goes out the window. Well, not all of it, but some of it definitely, and probably just take longer. But I will obviously continue to push the Iron Chronicles. I'm not forgetting that nor going away from that. I have dates lined up already coming in next year where I will be talking about it or signing them or doing all that kind of fun stuff. Okay. But to that end, I am obviously not done. I want to self-publish my next, or let's say independently publish my
There you go.
next steampunk novel. For various reasons, partly I would like to do some things that my publisher necessarily was not 100% behind. So we are going to write an entirely new series. And I should say it's already started for anyone who's heard my process. Obviously, I have committed a huge chunk of time to creating the outline and the character sketches and all that kind of stuff. All of that is done. The first chapters are done, so we are well on the way to this book coming into fruition in the early part of 2017 with an early fall release. Let's call it that right now.
There you go.
Ooh.
That's awesome.
Because I'd rather not go for the late Novembers like I've had. I'd much rather be a little bit earlier than that, so we'll see.
Okay.
To that end, one of the other things I'm going to be doing is I'm writing a lot of short stories and short vignettes, I'm calling them, for a couple of reasons. The first off is the vignettes are all going to be free. They're all going to be 500 words or something along those lines, short flash fiction type stuff. I'm giving them away. So one a month. Hopefully that's the plan, and I've got a couple of them written up, so I don't have to. I can spend the first few months slacking off.
Where will our listeners be able to find all these?
That's
free
a very
stories?
good question. So you'll be able to find them actually quite all over the places. They'll all sit on my website, so you'll be able to read them all there. You'll find them all on my Tumblr. You'll find them on Facebook.
BradRcook.com, right?
Yes, BradRcook.com. So you'll be getting a free story every month. Most of them will tie into the novel that is coming later that year. So by reading all the little vignettes, you'll learn little snippets of things, little bits of history, little bits of backstory that will, give you kind of a nice little knowledge base. I'm also going to be writing some short stories, some of which are just, one-offs for fun because I thought of something that was really cool and I wanted to write it. So they're going to be kind of fun and enjoyable. Others, however, will be directly related to the novels that are coming. Hopefully by the end of this year, I will have a nice little universe that is brewing, and then we'll run 2018 and 2019 with more steampunk novels coming on the way. Because I do intend to write another trilogy. Be on the lookout for all of that. I will say all the short stories are not necessarily steampunk, but most of them are. Some of them are sci-fi, and we're debating on the novella that's a thriller, so we'll see. But definitely all of that is coming in the next couple of months, and if there is an agent or a publisher out there who is really interested in my middle grades, that might push things off a little bit as I focus on that instead. But it should be fun, good times, and then obviously Gateway Con will be coming, and that'll be a huge chunk of our lives. So
Yes, it is. Already is.
Good stuff, fun stuff, but yeah.
Jen?
I feel like my goal for 2017, obviously Threadcaster is going to be a big one, but that's going to be taken care of in the first quarter. So my real sort of, the goal I came prepared to share here. I was writing a ghost story before I decided to self-publish my fantasy novel.
Right.
So my goal is once Threadcaster has got a nice bow on it and it's given to the masses, I will get back to my half-finished ghost story. I'm going to finish that novel and have it ready to start querying by the end of 2017 and try that whole rat's nest again. And that's my goal. Other tangentially related goals, I need to get back into sending art postcards for my illustration company, and I want to get another episode of my Babylon 5 comic out because that also took a back seat for Threadcaster.
Yeah.
So that's if anyone cares about my obsessive fandomness, you can check it out when it comes out, hopefully sometime next year.
She has got a
Babylon
lot of
6.
I will
fans.
read your Babylon 6. I've read all the other, Babylon 6s. I'll read this one too.
The first two. We'll have the third one. Teaser, the third one has a huge drunken party in it, so it'll be great.
Yeah, that's fun.
So how many episodes are you thinking for Babylon?
I've got 8 to 10 planned. It depends on if it takes the rest of my life.
Okay.
So hopefully the goal would be to get 2 episodes out next year, since I got 1 episode out this year. But it all depends on how Threadcaster's doing, because I'm going to have to promote Threadcaster, and how Ghosts is doing, because I got to finish Ghosts. And if I suddenly get 5 million illustration contracts, then A+, I'll be doing that. But the real, that's a fun goal. It's a fun goal on the side. That is my C goal, if we're A, B, and C'ing. That's my C goal. My A goal is Ghosts, because the plan is to have that ready so I can query it while I write the Threadcaster sequel in 2018. So there you go.
Okay.
There's a sequel.
Yeah, my goals, if I didn't go back to listen to this episode last year, so this might sound rather familiar. But you see, there's this fantasy novel that did get something written on it this year, so maybe this 2017, the first draft will get done. Oh, the zero draft will get done.
I remember this fantasy novel.
Yes, it's 15 years old.
You've got so much lore and
but
stuff planned out for it already.
The problem is I decided to add a different point of view character, and I just am not feeling him yet. It's like, okay, why is he doing what he's doing?
Then axe him.
No, that's just it. I can't axe him. He's...
Well, then ask him. Write a dialogue between yourself and the character and see.
Yeah, that's what I'm
where
trying
that
to do
takes
right
you.
now in my head. And once
Okay.
that gets done, maybe I can write him.
Or, give Jennifer free coffee or something, or tea, and sit her down and be like, Jennifer, plot Dr. Fix. Please.
Yeah, actually, my plot, the general plot works. I just need to keep from getting too complicated.
Sorry, Jen, character motivation stuff is going in the air, and I need it to land.
I'm still waiting for Jen to create this business because she'd do fantastic.
I know, right?
You know,
all you need to do is get authors with money to pay you for it.
See, there's the. Well, how many authors have any money?
Yeah, the big five. You need
I
the
see
big
the
five.
big five to
Yeah.
contract me.
I
I'll
still
do it.
think you need to do contracts for Hollywood. Like, something is wrong with this script. We need you to fix it. It was great, and then everybody got involved.
Listeners, if anyone has any idea how to turn that into anything that's an actual thing, my email is jenniferstolzer@gmail.com.
Please, for the love of everything that I love about movies, get this done.
Yeah.
Because some movies really need help.
Yeah.
And
Any
some
others?
movies have it coming.
So,
Well, that's the
So
main
fantasy
writing
novel.
one.
Fantasy
Yeah.
novel.
did you finish up your fairy tale?
Well,
No.
yes and no.
Yes
The
and no.
first draft is awful close to getting done, but because
Yay.
focus on awful, so it needs a major
Hey,
rewrite.
the first draft is supposed to be
Yes.
awful.
Yeah, if you've ever
Unless
read
you do it Fedora's way.
Unless you do it Fedora's way.
If you've ever read Bird by Anne Lamott, which is a book I highly recommend for writers, she says every first draft is shitty by definition, so don't worry about that, just write it.
Yeah, my problem is I haven't decided for this is okay. This is supposed to be a radio play, and my main character doesn't talk for a third of the book. So
Yeah.
Well,
what
just
change
talk.
do I need to
Just
make
do the
here?
Disney method.
Oh, I-
Introduce a talking animal to just
I actually
be there
have.
and have nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
You actually have a talking animal? You're straight on the path then.
Yeah, the trouble is the talking animal isn't there because he's a goose, and yeah.
You and I need to talk about Zombies Run later.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Okay. So I guess it comes to me.
Yes.
Well, 2017 is going to be a very, 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 did I say very? Busy year for me. I've got a couple of hats I need to split off here. So, of course, the president of St. Louis Writers Guild, we're doing Gateway Con. Yay!
Yay.
And I will be excited when that's actually done. I'm being honest. It's going to be fantastic. I'm not
5
saying it for
years.
that reason.
Yeah.
But both Brad and I are both like, is this done yet? Other thing, though. Am going to do at least have 2 books. No, I didn't say novels. 2 books out next year. My goal right now, I'm going to start off with indie publish. My goal, long term, borrowing from Kathleen across the way, is to go hybrid eventually. But right now, I've mentioned this, I think, on past broadcasts. And George, I'm looking at you as my local fanboy who's listened to every single one of these
Local
to
fanboy.
correct me when I'm wrong.
Your new title. Your title for 2017 is not local fanboy. You are the WPR archivist.
Yes, there you go. I like that.
I like that. Yeah, I like that better.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I don't think you got that episode right.
Actually, to be fair.
Wow, did I put my foot in that
Lord David Lucas.
You should go
Oh my god.
one? So now I've lost where I was going.
Just stop talking
So,
about when you're actually recording things.
two
It doesn't
books.
matter.
You were saying you were taking
Oh, yes,
your
thank you.
long-term goals.
Right.
Sorry.
The reason why I said hybrid, I think I've said this before, and I'm going to say it definitely now if I haven't, is I picture in my mind the indie publishing world as the brand new pulp fiction world. And what I mean by that is if you go back to the 40s, the 50s, where pulp fiction, a lot of various heroes we've had in this room, we've talked about, have come from. They were the very fast, get the book out, people start getting excited, and of course they eventually moved up in the industry or they died in the pulp fiction. I really picture that as the modern day version is the indie publishing world.
So Pulp Fiction is Live Big or Die.
Not quite what I mean, but okay. So the 2 books I definitely plan to get out. I'm working right now on a military science fiction. It is not like most military science fictions in the sense that it doesn't deal with going to war. It does deal with after the fact, though. I will say that. There's a couple characters who deal with that. It is the other part of the military which we don't get to talk about too often. And every country has a version, but I'm just going to use the United States as the example. The United States Coast Guard. They are a military branch people, and of course all the people who are in the military are nodding their heads, despite the rivalries. They are constantly protecting the borders. They are constantly interdicting either in human trafficking, drugs, illegal immigration, incursions on the economic zones, exclusive economic zones, and so forth. So this is a whole different take, and that's kind of what this is about. The other book I'm planning to write, and this one actually will be written after the novel, so this is already setting time frames because I want this done assuming that Brad and I are going to be at the Steampunk Festival, the Big River Steampunk Festival on Labor Day weekend up in Hannibal, doing our Writing the Fight Scene again. I intend to have a knife fighting book, one of several, done by then and ready to sell. For my 5th degree black belt, as a part of it, I am going to be starting to write a series of knife fighting books. And it's in correlation, 1 book per belt. In our case, we have orange, purple, blue, green, 3 degrees of brown, and then black. Of course, we go beyond black, but it will just be a 1 black belt book. And it will go from knife versus unarmed combat, knife versus knife, knife versus gun, 2 weapons, 2 knives, knife and stick / cane / whatever. And you get the idea. This keeps building with with a lot of different philosophy as well as usable techniques, and they will all be tested out.
Now, here's the question: will you be able to do any of that testing, or is that?
Thank you for talking about my back pain. Yes, it will be done. If I have to do the Batman method of correcting my back, I will do the Batman method.
So work it out till it's better.
You got it. So that's that. The other things in which I'm going to be doing,
David Michael Caine in Rome or something.
and I don't believe that this teacher, and I'm sorry to the teacher, because I was trying to look up your comment and my phone's not working too well. A teacher recently made a thank you comment on one of my scriptwriter videos on YouTube. And Winding Trails Media does have a YouTube channel. And I intend to get back to the script writing table episodes here as well, starting in January. She made a comment, it was on the writing stream of consciousness for radio drama. And did a thank you because it helped her class and so forth. And I really appreciated that comment. I'm intending to get, no, I'm not intending, I am going to get back to doing that since the wedding's now all done and everything else that was blowing up that took me away from that, that's coming back.
Yeah, so now he'll be down to 3 full-time jobs.
No. Yes, yeah. Well, and then on top of that, I've got 2 other, I've decided I'm going to do video logs or part of the YouTube channels. The only part I haven't decided on if they'll be separate channels or if they're going to be part of Winding Trails. And that is, I started a blog recently called Ghost Owl Samurai. And the idea of that is writing about and living by the Bushido as well as writing about characters doing the Bushido. Or the warrior way, not necessarily the Japanese Bushido. And I find trying to get the novels written, even with what I'm doing right now, and then writing a blog, I get to perfectionist writing with a blog. I spend a lot of time rewriting and so forth. I'm not going to do that. I do voice better, so I'm going to start doing that on a weekly basis. That's the idea anyway. It might start off monthly, but eventually get it to weekly. I am also going to start doing a science and science fiction video log on YouTube. Whether that's going to be separate or not, I haven't decided. And that is basically, let's take a look at the science. For example, one of the episodes I know I've got planned is Life on Other Worlds. Now, Star Trek, I absolutely love you. Star Wars, I absolutely love you, but a lot of times they're nothing but aliens with bumpy heads, and they all look like humans.
Well, they're limited to actors.
Exactly. They have a limitation, and that's one of the things which I will acknowledge.
Budgets.
And makeup budgets and so forth. But what will alien life be like on other worlds, assuming we ever find them? So that's going to be one of the discussions on how to create it.
Pointy ears and brow ridges. That's
Well,
what I'm
no,
waiting
one of the
for.
characters I've got in my military sci-fi that I mentioned earlier, he's evolved over years. I've always had this story in the back of my mind. And I'm not going to give you a character's name because I've changed it. I want to make sure I pronounce it right. But he is basically a 7-foot bear. Picture a bear with hand-like paws, if you will. Now, replace his muzzle with spider mouth parts and teeth like a shark, like a great white shark. So there's some changes, and he also has the eyes of a spider, basically, and that's the general concept. But I'm combining things. So the video log is going to be talking.
I just had a total thought of a spider bear. It does whatever a
Spider does.
can.
Yeah, I love it. Spider-Man. Okay.
I was thinking eyes of a spider scans with eye of the tiger.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Hey, that used to be my old song.
The eyes of a spider, it's still a bear.
It really is two things that should be able to scare any human being and combined in one. And actually, the guy's a really nice guy. But anyway.
David, bringing you nightmares in 2017.
I always. But so
Nightmares.
that's also going to start off sometime in 2017. I do not have a date of when I'm going to start that yet because I'm still figuring out the. I want to figure out the program like I do for Right Pack Radio. All our program is basically planned ahead of time with the idea it's not written in stone. We can always change things. So, but it's good to have it planned that far out in advance so we don't have a guess as to, what's next week going to be about? Mm-hmm. And I'm going to do the same thing with the vlogs first, and then I'm going to start filming them, and I've got to figure out how I want to film them. Meaning, do I want to use a pad, or do I want to use a video camera, or whatever. So that's some of the things. I'm also going to be redoing my website completely, which will include information that you can play with and look at on the story that's going to be coming out on the military sci-fi. I think that's a lot, and it is a lot.
Yeah, you left out something.
Huh?
You left out something.
I'm not sure I meant to, but go ahead.
Okay, well, you might have meant to, but you didn't bring up your audio plays.
No, that's something else. Actually,
Oh.
that's something else I'm going to. I haven't gotten that far in this list yet. Like George, I'm going to be getting my voice acting personally going. I still need to record my demo tape, which was going to be done in December, and having this bad back kind of ixnayed that. So I'm going to be doing that hopefully January, maybe February. Then the audio plays. I intend to turn, first off, the sci-fi novel that I mentioned, into an audio play. Mm-hmm. But also, too, right now, Winding Trails is having trouble finding actors for... As of when this is airing, I've got 34 roles, people. If you are a voice actor or just interested in voice acting, hey, I am willing to work with you if you're just a complete amateur. I don't care. I do want you to try out for them. And if I like how you sound, I will pick you. I do blind reviews on the auditions. So, and I've really got to get, my goal is to get the ones we've got that are waiting on all various resources done, including the acting part, done by, knock on wood, by the spring, and then reopen for script submissions in the spring. Right now I've had to close Winding Trails Media script submissions because I've got such a backlog on the ones we're working on. So I'm going to be busy 2017.
Yeah.
Thank God for coffee. And thank God I'm like Kathleen across the way. Attention deficit disorder really does help on multitasking.
I'm sorry, what?
I know.
I'm sorry, Jason.
I know
Where
you
am
are.
I?
I know you are. So that's my resolutions and my goals. I am going to make reach out to the fans, to all of you, for a couple of things. One, we want to hear from you. As George was talking about earlier, feedback is everything. Shows that are coming up for this fourth season, which starts the very first week for the very first Sunday in March, and will start being recorded in February. We're looking for other topics that you want to hear about. I can find topics, but I want your topics. I want to address you. So please submit. Secondly, I know for a fact Fedora, Brad, Jen, and I at least all have author pages on Facebook. Well, Jen's actually illustration page. Or are you illustration and author page?
It's Jennifer Souls Illustration on Facebook.
Okay.
But the Redcaster does have its own Facebook page.
So please come over and like our pages. Does anyone else have one? I know Melanie does not. George does as well on Facebook. Kathleen?
I have an author page for Kaseka and Vita. I don't have an author page for myself.
That's
Okay,
okay.
well,
Which is something I need to
Kaseka
get done
Vita.
quickly.
Is that
now.
are you writing underneath that pen name still, or are you going to go to your real name?
Oh, I'm writing under both.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So-
do me a favor. Spell
Like
spell your pen name.
All right, so
So
forthcoming,
people can look it
I
up.
guess, will be the author page for Kathleen Kayembe, Kathleen space Kayembe, and the Kaseka and Vita page is already up. Is what my romance stories are going to be under. So that's Kaseka space NVITA.
And mine is David Allen, ALAN, Lucas. That's out there too. So please like our pages. If you are interested, if you like us, you like Right Pack,
And mine is Fedora Amos Author on Facebook.
There you go.
Brad,
Just Brad R. Cook.
George.
Mine is facebook.com/Excelsior Books.
There you go.
There you go. So do like our pages.
Like us.
Like
Please
those.
like
There you go. And also too, on our on Twitter for Right Pack, we're always constantly announcing what this week's episode is, and it's being said over and 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 over again. On Facebook, we just announce it once a week. If there are other things that you would like to see announced on our page, be it books coming out from us, discussions or where we're going to be at, or writing tips, let me know. Easily, you can contact me at the Right Pack Radio page. Just there's a way to message me there, or you can message me, PM me on Facebook. Love to hear from you. And finally, I had something in there, and my mind just completely, totally went blank. I hate when that happens. But anyway, that's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff. Oh, I did forget one thing. So,
Yeah, see, I'm not the only one.
in 2017, hopefully, more than likely, because it should be,
Oh, I know, of
you'll be
course.
able to pick up the history of St. Louis Writers Guild.
Yay.
So
Hooray.
the 90 some odd year history of St. Louis Writers Guild.
Yeah, we're 96
Should be fun.
now.
96.
We'll be 97 next year.
Yep.
And here's what I forgot. Also coming out through Winding Trails is going to be a bunch of webinars. My goal is to have one done each month. So, I'm going to be busy.
Yeah, do you have like a wall chart somewhere? Is everything
I've actually got some stuff written down somewhere.
Is
so.
it? Do you have like thumbtacks with yarn?
I want thumbtacks and yarn. Yeah.
That would be
We
a
got
true
away from
spider's
thumbtacks
web.
and yarn. We really need to get back to that.
Okay.
It's a good accounting system.
And on that note, we're already well past the normal hour. So, any final words, and then
Edit
Yeah,
out someone's goals.
If you guys want to post your goals on the
Please.
Right Path thread for this episode, might help with accountability to have other people out there encouraging you and seeing that you've made this commitment. So feel free to do that. We'd love to see what you want to do this year for writing.
And actually, you don't have to look for this particular episode. We would love to hear. Put a comment on our page, or put a comment on our page saying, "Hey, my resolution was whatever your resolution is, and I've gotten this far on my resolution as of this date." And we would love to hear that back from you. So,
We'll all like it.
yep. Have a great week writing, and tune in next week for yet another interesting story in the writing industry. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. And definitely, everybody, have a safe and happy New Year.
And if you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you enjoy
Happy
watching
holidays.
Star Wars.
All over again. Yeah,
Movie
happy Star
theater.
Wars.
We might do that anyway.
Well, we're going to see it on the Omnimax on the 21st.
Yeah.
Did you know that Right Pack Radio has an international audience? How would you like to reach that audience in regards to your books, your book services, your author services, or more? Go to www.windingtrailsmedia.com and look under advertising for more information. If you don't have a script, that's not a problem. We will be happy to work with you. Once again, go to www.windingtrailsmedia.com for more information.
GatewayCon? What is GatewayCon? The Gateway to Publishing Conference and Convention, brought to you by St. Louis Writers Guild, is a new, unique experience for writers looking for their work to be either traditionally published, independently published, self-published, or to further their writing career. Coming in June 2017, GatewayCon will provide opportunities for writers to pitch their work to agents, hone their craft regardless if it is genre fiction or nonfiction, and obtain expert critiques. Get to meet vendors and experts who can help your writing get attention. And all writers get their work in front of their audience. Writers will get to network with agents, publishers, and others in your genre. Gateway to Publishing Conference and Convention will be in St. Louis, June 16th through the 18th, 2017. For more information, visit www.stlwritersguild.org or look for GatewayCon on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. GatewayCon, opening the gateway for writers to reach their readers. The new theme songs for Right Pack Radio were written and performed by Meredith Tate. All copyrights remain with her.